What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Charles Oliveira reacts to fighting in Abu Dhabi again. At UFC 294, former lightweight champion Charles Oliveira will look to recapture UFC gold and avenge his previous loss to Islam Makhachev after returning to the win column with a spectacular performance against Beneil Dariush. Leading up to the fight, many are wondering what Oliveira will do differently this time around after coming up short against Makhachev at UFC 280 in Abu Dhabi. During a recent interview with James Lynch of My MMA News, the former champ spoke about the fight, revealing that he would be heading to Abu Dhabi in a week's time in order to acclimate.
He's leaving in about a week and a half. He's not going too far in advance, but everything's going as planned and he's feeling good.
When it comes to his ideal scenario for the fight, Oliveira stated that he didn't care whether he knocked out or submitted Makhachev. He just simply wants to win. With UFC 294 rapidly approaching, only time will tell whether Oliveira will be able to avenge the loss and reclaim UFC gold. Shout out to our first comments on yesterday's video. Thanks for the support. Next up, let's take a look at Alex Pereira breaks silence on Sean Strickland fight. Although Sean Strickland and Alex Pereira have trained together and struck up a friendship, many have wondered if Pereira would put business before his friendship and return to 185 in hopes of reclaiming the UFC title given how things played out when the two men met inside the octagon. During a recent appearance on the MMA Hour, Pereira spoke about the situation.
No, it's not on my plans. My plan was if Israel Adesanya was still the champion there, you know what I mean, maybe win the light heavyweight belt and make a fight with him, but now no, you know what I mean, Sean's my friend, and also, you know what I mean, it's not a weight cut that I'm looking to do. I always made that weight, never like miss weight, anything like that, but it is a hard weight cut, so right now it's not in my interest.
Based on his comments, it sounds as though if Israel Adesanya were to reclaim the belt, then he could weigh the idea of returning to middleweight in pursuit of the title once again. Of course, with a logjam of contenders at 185 pounds and Pereira's upcoming vacant title fight at UFC 295, how things play out in the year to come is anyone's guess. Next up, let's take a look at Francis Ngannou sends warning to Jon Jones. While Jon Jones is currently sitting as a pretty heavy favorite for his UFC 295 clash with Stipe Miocic, the latest reports out of the Miocic camp are that the former champ is looking better than ever. With that in mind, former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou took some time to issue a warning to Jones regarding the upcoming clash while speaking with MMA Fighting at an open workout leading up to his bout with Tyson Fury.
I put 50-50 on that fight. Well, because I fought Stipe twice, as you just said, and I know Stipe pretty good. Yeah, I fought Stipe twice, and I know he doesn't look like, but I know how tough he is, I know how good he is. I mean, I know very well.
While Miocic is coming off a long layoff following the loss to Ngannou, he has remained supremely confident heading into his upcoming clash with Jones. With the event trending as one of the biggest in recent memory, only time will tell whether Miocic is able to pull off the upset and reclaim UFC gold. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at Daniel Cormier on Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett fight. The scheduled UFC 296 clash between Tony Ferguson and Paddy Pimblett has continued to leave the MMA community divided, with many of the mindset that the UFC has no business matching a streaking fighter like Pimblett up with a fighter in the midst of a six-fight skid like Ferguson. On the flip side, there are some, like Chael Sonnen, who feel as though many are counting El Cucuy out prematurely. Leading up to the fight, where Pimblett sits as a betting favorite, Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier gave his thoughts on the fight in a recent video for his YouTube channel, saying that every great champion has one more night in them. However, Cormier feels that Ferguson lost something in the Justin Gaethje fight he hasn't been able to get back.
Because imagine what happens for Tony Ferguson if he beats Paddy Pimblett. He said before the last fight, I sat in the fighter meeting with him and Tony Ferguson said, it's going to be a fight right now, 5 more fights, I'm on the title. So it's not like he has lost that desire to fight. He has not lost the thought that he can be a world champion.
Whether or not UFC 296 marks the end of Ferguson's losing streak, only time will tell. What does seem clear to many, including Daniel Cormier, is that Tony Ferguson has not lost his desire to win. Next, let's take a look at Nate Diaz rejects big offer. After Nate Diaz became a free agent, he was photographed alongside Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, leading many to wonder whether he could in fact join the WWE. Of course, Diaz then went on to sign an agreement to box Jake Paul. However, according to Logan Paul, Diaz actually turned down an offer to put on a show with him in the WWE ring. During a recent appearance on the MMA Hour, Logan Paul spoke about the situation.
Yeah, they were. Oh man, you know why I think it didn't come to fruition? I mean, I don't know. I think Nate wanted to fight Jake.
Okay.
There's no doubt that any event that I do with the WWE would be massive. They're one of the biggest sports organizations on the planet. You know, where's the hesitation? I don't understand it. I'm sure he had his reasons.
With Diaz still a free agent, there's been plenty of speculation regarding what the future may hold. On one hand, he could return to the UFC, while on the other, he could look to box again, or make a WWE appearance. Whether or not a showdown between he and Logan Paul winds up happening, only time will tell. Next, let's take a look at Alexander Volkanovski submits NBA champion. Alexander Volkanovski and NBA champion Jamal Murray have struck up quite a friendship over the past year. Earlier this summer, Volkanovski even got the chance to hoop with Murray and the Denver Nuggets on the heels of their NBA championship win. Now, Volkanovski and Murray took things in a different direction, with the two grappling in a recent video for Volkanovski's YouTube channel, where they engaged in a lighthearted role that saw the featherweight champion attempt to submit Murray in 60 seconds. As the clock expires, Murray winds up tapping out to a guillotine choke, despite putting up a good defense against Volkanovski's playful RNC attempt. Volkanovski is currently preparing to make a return to the octagon early next year after undergoing elbow surgery, with the expectation that Volkanovski will defend his belt against Ilia Topuria. The clip of he and Murray rolling is sure to get fans excited for his return. Next up, let's take a look at Colby Covington gets exposed by teammate. Over the past few years, Colby Covington has become one of the most polarizing figures in all of MMA. While many believe that Covington is merely playing a character on the mic in order to sell pay-per-views and make a name for himself, former ATT teammate Johnny Eblen recently put Chaos on blast. After recently stating that he hopes Leon Edwards beats Covington, Eblen opened up on his dislike for the former interim welterweight champ in an interview on the MMA Hour.
Colby just sucks, man. I just don't like him. He's not a great person. I've been around him a few times at the gym. He's just an odd guy, and I don't know. I'm not team Colby whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm against him. I'm team ATT, and he kind of made things weird at the gym, and I don't really like that. He always gave off this weird energy to me, and I don't know, dude. I just never felt drawn to the guy. I've trained with him a few times.
Between Covington's recent tease of a fight at 185 pounds if he defeats Leon Edwards, and the fact that Bellator MMA may fold, many are wondering whether the stars could align for a scrap between he and Covington down the line, should Eblen land with the UFC. Let's take a look at Conor McGregor breaks silence on Dillon Danis fight. Although there's been quite a bit of speculation regarding whether or not the boxing match between Dillon Danis and Logan Paul will actually proceed as scheduled, the bout is set to take place next month, barring any sudden changes. This week, Danis poured fuel on the metaphorical fire regarding the bout falling through, tweeting, "I'm over this peace." However, that hasn't stopped Conor McGregor from throwing his support behind his friend and training partner. In an interview with Mirror Fighting, McGregor gave his thoughts on the October contest, stating,
Dillon's gonna win. Dillon will win. You know, he had the baby, we didn't get to train together, so I don't know the ins and outs. I know he's doing well, he's doing training, and he's gonna go for it.
Danis notably reposted a clip on his Twitter account this week of a 2016 grappling match where he competed with a broken arm. In the caption, he wrote, "Never surrender," giving fans hope that the bout between he and Paul may still take place as scheduled. Of course, it would mark a big return to competition for Danis after missing several years due to knee surgeries before he then controversially withdrew from his scheduled boxing match with KSI earlier this year. Should the fight take place, it's safe to say that McGregor will be keeping a close eye on how things play out for Danis. Dana White is being accused of taking steroids. Dana White took to Instagram with a post about his recent body transformation. He said, "Left is March 17th, 2017. Right is September 18th, 2023. Nuts." But fans are speculating that the boss is on some sort of steroid body enhancer. They claim that a 54-year-old can't possibly maintain or put on that much muscle in such a short period of time. Here's what some fans had to say. "I see Paulo Costa sorted you out with a sip or two of the secret juice." Tito Ortiz said, "Juice can do a man good." And another fan said, "The CEO of EPO." Alex Pereira pranked Glover Teixeira by making him eat a wet napkin. Here's the video he posted on Instagram.
Lavar a mão, eu vou falar pra ele que é de comer. Vamos ver. Vou falar pra ele aqui. Papai vai filmar, esconde. Filma aqui assim mesmo. Aí, trazer bom, tá dentinho. Bom, hein, velho? Bom. Tá dentinho esse aqui. Porra, velho. Hey guys.
On a recent podcast with Joe Rogan, he talked about the UFC possibly legalizing the infamous 12-6 elbow. 12-6 elbows were banned in MMA since the year 2000, but it's now in talks to possibly become a legal strike again. Here's what Joe Rogan had to say about the situation.
You know they're going to bring back 12-6 elbows.
From where?
From standing in the guard, anywhere. 12-6 elbows illegal still, which is the dumbest thing in the world.
Are illegal.
Did I say legal? Illegal.
In the mount. Like if I'm mounted,
right.
You can't go like this.
You can't go 12-6, which doesn't make any sense.
But from full guard, you can. If I was on my back in full guard,
because it's going 6-12.
Yes.
Which is the dumbest shit of all time.
Yes.
But standing, you can't do it. So like if you and I are standing and you rush at me and do that and hit me with a 12-6 elbow, that's illegal.
And they're going to change that?
They're going to change that.
Who's behind that?
Nowitzki talked to me about it.
And he
said, I know that this is something that you complain about all the time. We think we're going to be able to get rid of that. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest one.
Top comments. Imagine paying to watch UFC. Someone responded with, some of us just aren't poor and can afford it. Another fan responded to that comment saying, I can afford it, but why would you pay for something you don't need to? It's dumb. You're wasting money. US patrons being charged over $1,000 a year to watch all the UFC content, while other fans around the world are charged $60. But illegal streams are the problem causing revenue loss. Dana always takes all the credit and robs all the fighters' money. What a hypocrite. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.